Hey, today we're going to talk about a new book, a badly needed book, about how to research church records in the United States. My name is Connie Knox. I am a lifelong genealogist here to help you go further, faster, and factually with your family research. I'm here today at the Salt Palace in Salt Lake City at Roots Tech 2020, and I ran into Sunny Morton, and she started telling me about this new book she's got. She and Harold Henderson wrote this book about how to research your church records in the U.S. So I couldn't wait to sit down and talk to her about it. I had the good fortune to sit down and get that interview just yesterday. So we're going to talk about that interview here in just a moment. But first, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you get notified each time I upload a video. Now, on to that interview. Sunny, thank you so much for joining us. I am so thrilled that you have written this book about church records because I have had so many requests for information and to do a video and whatnot about church records. And my fear about doing a video on church records is the fact that it is such a broad subject and there's so many different denominations and different rules and records are spread everywhere. Right,
Connie. So I had the same problem when I thought about writing a book because I think a lot of people have this issue where they realize, I wish I could get a little deeper to finding my US ancestors. They have a brick wall problem. Like, I can't find an overseas birthplace. I can't find the names of parents that I bet would show up in a baptismal record. I can't find anything about the women. So lots of brick wall kinds of questions that US church records might answer, but there was really nothing out there. There were no real timeless books that were really up to date and had a lot of material. And like you said, church records in the United States, because we are such a poly-church society, we have a lot of religious history in this country. So it's not just a matter of one kind of church and its records, it's a matter of lots of different ones. So that's what this book is all about, actually. So the first half of the book is how to find church records in general and the kinds of things they might have in them, which are wonderful. And then the second half of the book gets you into the major historical denominations in the United States. So from the Anglican or Episcopalian church to the Baptists, the Catholics, so lots of different churches, and what the terminology meant, where in the country they were most populous, what their records generally contain, those kinds of questions that come up when you start getting into church records.
Now, Harold Henderson's on this as well.
He is.
So was this a co-author?
Yes, Harold Henderson is my co-author on this project, and he is an academic genealogist with a wonderful reputation and really solidly grounded in Midwestern U.S. research. And there's a lot of church records in the Midwest for lots of different denominations.
Well, I can't tell you, I don't even think you realize yet how big this is going to be because you're right, there was nothing out there. You know where I kept going? Family Search Wiki.
Really? And that's a great place. It's still a great place to go for if you're looking for very specific records for a very specific time and place. So that's still a great resource, but for something more comprehensive, to teach you in general about finding and using U.S. church records, that's what this book is for.
Well, let me tell you, besides just some general information about church records, they've got the Anglican, Episcopal Church, the Baptist, Congregational, Dutch, Reformed. I mean, you got German, Latter-day Saints, Lutheran, Mennonite, and Amish, Methodist, Quakers, Presbyterian, Roman Catholic. I mean, this is just incredible. And it's got a great index in the back. I kind of digging around in here, looking at it. So, wow. Kudos to you. I bet you're so excited.
I am really excited. This has been a pet project for a while. I'm fascinated by the role that religions played in our ancestors' lives here in the United States. Huge role. It was a community. It was faith. Many times it was religious devotion. Sometimes it was the law. But that's where the community came together. That's where you celebrated life, or you at least observed life, the most important events, your births, your deaths, your marriages. All of those happened often at a church. And so even if an ancestor didn't regularly attend, they weren't churchgoers in the regular sense, they still may have appeared at a special occasion at least in the records.
Well, and I know, like in the Quaker records, for example.
Oh,
if
those
you got
are wonderful.
Oh my gosh. Well, I do a lot of work there. So, if somebody got in trouble, I mean, that was written about in the church record. So, I mean, that church records plus, yes, and, right? So many church records were available prior to the civil records.
Yes.
So, marriages and stuff that were documented in the church records, burials and all kinds of things. But
yes, that's absolutely true. And something else, so the church records might have been in place before civil records, especially for births and deaths, which came along a little bit later for our governmental records. But also, the church records weren't stored at the courthouse. So if your courthouse burned or had a flood or some other catastrophe, and a lot of them did, then church records are a great backup because they weren't there. They were someplace else.
Good
right.
point. Yeah. I hadn't thought about that, but yes, good point.
Right.
I guess that's a good way to get around the burned counties too.
It is. And it's also a good way to meet your ancestors who don't show up, who are underrepresented in other records. Women, children,
Oh yes.
ethnic minorities,
Yes, so true.
immigrants. There's a
Yes.
lot more. If you think of the church records in the United States about being more democratic in that sense, because they were more inclusive of more people, sometimes the enslaved. So there will be a lot of people who appear in church records who are underrepresented outside of them.
Fabulous. All right, so if somebody has questions for you, how do they find you?
SunnyMorton.com is my website.
Okay.
I'm also on Facebook, and it's easy to message me through the Messenger app
Awesome.
if you have a question, but a lot of the questions you're going to have are going to be answered in the book.
Okay. So if somebody wants to buy the book, where do they find it?
You can find it at the publisher's website at genealogical.com, or you can find it on Amazon. It's available both places.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Hey, congratulations to Sunny and Harold about the new book. I'm just thrilled for you. Well, there you have it. Okay, so I got a chance to look at the book. It is available now on Amazon. I can't wait to get a copy of it for myself. I will leave a link in the show notes for you below. And well, it's time for you to go find your ancestors, hopefully in church records. So until next time, keep on climbing your family tree.